I'm Mark Sponsler from StormSurf.com, and here's the surf forecast for the week starting Friday, March 25th. Brought to you by HawaiianSouthShore.com, your surf supply company. Expect expert advice and friendly service. We'll start by looking at jet stream level winds. These winds up about 30,000 feet help support the formation of gales, and without a gale, you can't have surf. All right, so there is a trough, a dip in the jet here. That is supportive of gale development. It's supposed to push over the date line towards a point north of the Hawaiian Islands as we get Saturday evening into Monday. That should support a pretty decent gale. And then winds build again as we get into Monday, Tuesday off the Kuril Islands in Hawaii, supporting yet another trough here, which is supportive of gale development. Those are the main two troughs we're looking at for the next week. Maybe perhaps yet a third a week out, but the models are not particularly reliable this far in advance, so a bit of ambiguous there. And then next we go take a look down at the surface. Surface level pressure, surface level winds. The jet streams fuel the development of a gale. Here is a gale starting to develop Friday just south of the Aleutian Islands. Winds 45 knots, aimed reasonably well at Hawaii. There's Hawaii, dateline 180. Aleutian Islands there, Alaska, Kamchatka, Kuril Islands, Japan. As we get further into Saturday, a stronger gale develops closer to the Hawaiian Islands, 45-knot gale force northwest winds aimed right at Hawaii, so that should help produce some swell. Notice there is a bit of a low forecast off of California, but that's outside of the Hawaiian swell window and of no real interest. Then another gale starts developing on Tuesday, the 29th, over the north dateline region here. 40-knot winds aimed at Hawaii and the Hawaiian Islands, with a broader area of 35-knot winds behind that. Gale force winds start at 35 knots. Anything above gale force is really what you want to see to get at least a 13-second period swell. Anyway, that system pushes over the dateline into Wednesday of next week and into Thursday, the 31st of March, continues circulating over the dateline and into the western Gulf, generating some degree of swell until we get into Friday, when yet another system is forecast developing off Kamchatka. But again, that's a ways out on the models and very unreliable. And then, of course, waves are generated by wind blowing over the ocean surface. So we saw the wind model. Let's see the effect of those winds on the ocean surface. So we get into Saturday. The first gale starts developing 22-foot seas right there on the dateline, building to about 26 feet northeast of the Hawaiian Islands, aimed reasonably well at Hawaii. You can actually see the swell front here pushing towards the Hawaiian Islands as we get into Monday, and that swell arrives on Tuesday, while the next gale develops over the northern dateline region, producing 26-foot seas, maybe 27 feet, and a broader area of, we'll say, 20 to 26-foot seas again on Wednesday into Thursday, and yet more potentially into Friday. That's good for a pretty long run of maybe 12, 13, maybe 14-second period energy, maybe a little more with luck, and then the next system starts forming behind that a week out. So potentially 2, if not maybe 3 swells coming for the Hawaiian Islands, not particularly large in size. The first one arriving next week, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, 3.8 feet at 12 to 13 seconds. That's good for about 4.5 foot Hawaiian, foot or two overhead, something like that. So that's for the middle of next week. Unfortunately, not a whole lot, just wind swell for this coming weekend. So you have to suffer through that. But then beyond that, potentially another swell beyond that. Swell arrival on Friday and Saturday, so that sets up some degree of swell for 4 of the 5 work days of next week and maybe some beyond. The bit of the issue, though, is trades, which have been pretty strong out of the east-northeast, almost northeast. They're supposed to be decent in the middle of next week, but beyond that, turning back to that unfavorable northeast direction. So get it while you can in the middle of the week. And then looking down south, South Pacific, a small gale pushed under New Zealand about a week ago. Small swell from that system is actually hitting Hawaii today. That's on Friday, and it is slowly be fading Saturday and Sunday, but rideable waves at best exposed breaks. Looking out beyond that, another gale traversed under New Zealand on Monday of this past week, the 21st of March, with 33-foot seas, but most of it was heading off to the east, probably not going to make it up into the Hawaiian Islands. Then a bit of a calm patch until this afternoon when a small gale, Friday afternoon, started developing south of New Zealand. Again, 30, 32-foot seas, again aimed off to the east, if not southeast, not doing a whole lot. But then a more interesting system is forecast on Monday afternoon, the 28th of March, developing again southeast of New Zealand with 36-foot seas. That one actually forecast to lift a bit to the northeast. Unfortunately, most of that is going to be east of the Hawaiian Islands. But this sort of speaks to the change in pattern that's going on right now. North Pacific still producing swell, Southern Hemi trying to come online, producing small bits of energy. So transition period, spring, pretty normal. That's a good thing. Swells from both directions, we'll take it. All right, that's it for this week. We'll do it again next week, same time. Thanks for watching.